Real-Time Living for Boomers and Millennials with Tom and Ray. Wonderful show that it is today. We have a guest who I happened to witness his performance. Now, he's not a singer, he's not a dancer. He is probably the best person I've ever seen do a inspection thoroughly, completely, and clearly of a home, and it was a home inspection, a mock home inspection done in the Washington Crossing area. And why is a home inspection important? It's important because the home inspector, if it's the right one, it can be the best friend you're going to have in the buying a new home process. Buying a new home, and that's such a big deal. Our guest is Mr. Steve Hunn, who is the owner and principal and president of a wonderful organization, Inspection Professionals, and they're a wonderful company. And good morning to you, Mr. Hunn.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on.
We're very happy with you. We'll be interviewing you momentarily. Today is Mr. Steve Hunn. He is the owner and president of Inspection Professionals LLC, and that is a home inspection company, and they do many things. Steve has been, and very importantly, I think, he's been a member of the American Society of Home Inspectors since 1997. And this organization, the acronym ASHI, seems to be a premier organization, and their people are the best members of ASHI. What's pretty remarkable is during his time as a home inspector, Steve has done 7,000 home inspections. He may do 100 today.
Wow.
On an average day, how many do you do?
Really depends on time of year. Actually, this weekend I think we have daylight savings time coming up, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not again. Go ahead, please.
Unfortunately, we cannot perform an inspection if it gets dark too soon. So typically, we're scheduled at 8:30 in the morning, second inspection at 12:30, and daylight savings time allowing, we will do a 4:30 as well.
Oh, okay. Well, a busy day. In addition to all those home inspections, Steve also, as part of a good, solid citizen, is an instructor at Temple University for some of the programs that they have regarding this field. And he is nationally known as one of the leading experts in the country on stucco inspection. And so the man is very busy, and we're very happy once again that you're with us today, Steve.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the invite.
Well, again, as I said at the beginning, I witnessed a mock home inspection, and it was really cool. And in fact, if I may, why or do home inspections have to be done all the time?
I don't think it's a requirement in order to purchase a home, but it is a great idea because a home inspector can help you make a more informed decision about the property that you're looking to purchase. And a home inspector is there to educate the clients. It is not just a home inspection. You know, a buyer wants to know how old the system is.
Right.
What is the predictable design life? How much life can they expect to get from each system? How do they maintain the system, such as how often should we change our air filters? If you have a driveway, how often do I need to coat the driveway? Cleaning my gutters. There's differences between maintenance and other issues that can come up, but I'm not sure that it's a requirement, but it is an excellent idea.
Well, the home inspection mock demonstration that you did for us and our group, Coldwell Banker Real Estate People, what I was most excited about, and having done home inspections and been on them with home inspectors, you wanted and you wanted the attention of the people that were with you as we were the prospective home buyers. And it shouldn't be, home buyers shouldn't be just walking around like zombies, they should be touching stuff and smelling stuff and what. Don't you want them to be hands-on?
Yeah,
sort of?
absolutely. So what they're paying for is several things. They're paying for not only peace of mind, but make no mistake, they are paying for that education process. So if the buyer does not follow you around, they're not getting as much value out of this process as they could be getting.
You demand that attention because that's how you best can serve those buyers, those potential home buyers. I find, again, from my experience with home inspectors, I'd ask a question, the answer, it was fast and furious, and I really didn't learn all that much. Again, what you did the other day, you answered very clearly and how everything should be. When it comes to the home inspection, what are you particularly looking for?
So we're looking at all the systems of the house when we're performing a home inspection, and the best home inspectors will inspect all the systems from site, exterior, plumbing, electric, heating, air conditioning, assuming it's not too cold, structure, you name it, all the systems of the house. And we're looking for a lot of things. The common misconception is we're only looking for problems, which is not necessarily the case. The best home inspectors will not only look for the problems, identify them, and educate the clients about them, but we also love when we can unveil some terrific things we see about a house. So as I'm sure you may be able to appreciate, some buyers are somewhat uptight during this process and concerned. So it's terrific to be able to say, this is a sign of a good builder. It just makes me feel terrific to be able to educate them about all the great things of their house as well.
What are some of those good signs?
So a lot of them would be one with the roof, the type of roof, the type of shingle, perhaps it is. Nowadays we're seeing in newer shingles that are architectural design shingles as opposed to the older 3-tab shingles. They wear a little bit different. They wear typically a little bit slower, even though it may be the same weight. And it's just a great sign. Now, how they flash some of the areas, and flashing is nothing more than a spot where a shingle will run into an interruption, such as a chimney. You may see something behind the chimney that's called a cricket, but it's nothing more than a bump, if you will, that diverts the water around the chimney. So we're not just relying on the flashing. And when we see a cricket behind a chimney when it's due, it's just great to be able to see that. When we see the cement wash on top of the chimney, and it's designed to just make the water roll off like water rolling off of a duck's back, and it's in great shape when often it may not be. I love to be able to share this with my clients to make them feel much better about the process.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head, and again, having been through home inspections, my eyes glaze over. And this activity the other day, I was enthused about what you were talking about, and that enthusiasm sort of created, if I was that buyer in that situation, a certain amount of confidence that I didn't have before, because it's like most things, if you have a better knowledge of something, you're more confident in the decision that you're going to make, and that to me is the most important thing. The confidence that you are able to establish with the buyers and looking at their future home. That I didn't realize how important that was.
Yeah, it's years of learning what works and what doesn't. But it's really all about the inspector and the inspector's communication skills. Listen, there are a lot of wonderful, great home inspectors out there that can tell that they're not just there to perform an inspection. They're there to help educate everybody and help them understand what's going on. So it's if you get the right guy who has those off-the-chart communication skills and can embrace everybody on site and help them feel more comfortable during the process, you're going to get a lot of value out of that service.
Steve, what questions should home buyers be asking when they're looking for a home inspector?
Well, the first question that typically comes up is price. As a matter of fact, I got that question yesterday on
Wow.
the phone. It's not very often I do, but
Okay.
it does come up. And, the first thing I share is our prices are a little bit higher, but that's fine. And I explained to the client, if price is a factor, there's several questions you want to make sure you ask while you're shopping around, okay? The first thing is, does the inspector get on the roof, actually climb up and walk on the roof? Now,
You're going to tell me that some inspectors don't go up on the roof?
some inspectors do not. Believe it or not, in the city of Philadelphia, or even the suburbs, the surrounding area, this is the only area that I am aware of in the country, and I'm aware of many, that actually is coming off. You can feel what the sheathing underneath that they're nailed into feels like, okay? If you're standing in the street with binoculars, or there are some guys who can get pretty creative, and I know you mentioned it earlier, they will use a drone with a camera to take pictures. And in some scenarios that can certainly be helpful, but make no mistake, if you're not actually getting up and walking on that roof, then you're not able to do as complete of an inspection on that roof. I don't care who you are.
Do people really spend that much time about what's it going to cost me? Because, if I'm buying a $500,000 house or a $300,000 house or $1 million house, the price of seeing the best possible condition of my potential home, it shouldn't really be that much of a deal, but is it?
It shouldn't be, but believe it or not, it is. And the theory out there is that all inspectors are created equal. And
Okay.
so now we're just shopping price, but it's not that's not the case. Another question that you want to ask when you're shopping around is, you often get, how many years have you been doing that?
Right.
Performing inspections,
Right.
which may not be the best way to ask to get the answer you're looking for. The best question is, how many inspections have you performed in that certain amount of years? Now, in the last 20 years, I have probably interviewed, hired, and trained from, I don't know, between 40 and 50 inspectors. The most recent inspector in the last 2 years that I hired probably has close to 800 inspections under his belt in 2 years. Now, if you ask a home inspector how long you've been doing it, and he says 5 years, 6 or 7 years, you may have a sense of security about that and feel
Right.
good. But what if you found out he had only performed in 7 years 1,000 home inspections? Then that might suggest that there may be a problem. So he's not performing a whole lot every year, and the question then becomes why. Another question you might want to ask is, how quickly will I get the report? If you don't have that report within 24 hours, something's not as good as it could be or should be. As a matter of fact, the better companies today will get it to you the same day.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
That's terrific turnaround.
Well, I'm learning so much.
Yeah, and you really have to turn that around and get it out the same day. But at the very least, they have to have it within 24 hours. So,
Well, I had an experience where you would have been well used and important and buying process for me. Having bought a beach house down in Charleston, South Carolina, number one, the roof leaked 3 days after we settled on the property, and the other thing was that we had a problem that wasn't revealed to us in the report, but we never got any photographs with the home inspection report. Is that not standard with the home inspection report, photos?
over the last 15 years or so, it has transitioned significantly where you do want photos in the report. And you want a lot of them, especially in the areas that a client cannot follow a home inspector, such as a roof, an attic, or a crawl space. Because it does several things. Not only helps you identify and discuss it with the client so they're actually seeing it. Some people are visual learners, and it certainly is helpful. But it gives them that sense that, yes, my inspector actually did access those areas and inspect it. In addition to that, cost projections are a pretty big topic as well. You not only want the cost projections, but it is essential that those cost projections are right on the nose.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
You can't do ballpark.
you can,
Okay.
so it is going to be a projection. Actually, in the state of Pennsylvania, in order to give a cost to correct something, the legislation states that it must be in a range.
Okay.
So you can give and should give cost projections. It does have to be in a range, but you also, according to the legislation, must be able to reveal your source. Where are you getting those numbers from?
See, you're explaining a process that seems to be more complicated each step that you take. And if you don't have the right inspector guiding you and educating you, you're going to have yourself some problems. I certainly wouldn't do it. Another question for you is, what is visual inspection only? Is that what you guys do? You only do a visual inspection? You don't put holes in walls and pull out stuff?
That's another great question. When the inspection process starts, typically you meet a client either out front of the house or in the kitchen. We start off with an introduction, which is very clear that we need to make it with our client, and that is that we're going to go around checking all the systems